Welcome everybody. We are live. We are on our second live stream, and today we've got a panel for you guys. We have a live panel with local, state, national real estate and government board members. They're here to kind of explain to us what happens behind the scenes for you guys. It's something that a lot of people I think are curious about. It's something that not everybody really understands what goes on, and they're here to share that with us. First thing I want to do, you guys, is thank this panel. This panel, a lot of times we thank our top producers, we thank our individual producers, we thank our staff members, we thank our leaders, and a lot of times we don't get the chance to thank people who serve on our behalf that you might not even understand that they're out there serving. So first thing I want to say is thank you to this panel. I also want to say thank you to two other people, Sandra Rank and Chris Mokler. They agreed to be on, but they had last minute things come up that they weren't able to be on. Sandra's business is just booming, and Chris Mokler actually recorded a short little video about how he serves, and we're actually going to post that in the chat for you guys. It's very important that when the panelists are talking, you guys interact with us. If you don't interact with us, it's going to be a short live stream. If you don't ask us questions, I'll take the questions then, and I'll fire them away to the panel members on your behalf. And with that, I encourage people to please subscribe. Make sure you're subscribing to our YouTube channel. And then when you find value in this live stream, if you guys like this, this is our second one. We've had really good feedback on our first one. Please give the video a thumbs up. Thank these guys, and then comments. Drop some comments in there for those guys. If you guys aren't asking questions in chat, like I said, it'll be a short live stream, but we hope you do. All right, with that being said, you guys, I have my notes down here. So if you see me looking down, it's just because I have my notes. But the first person I'd like to introduce is Lisa. Lisa is president-elect for the Wisconsin Realtors Association. Lisa, if you could unmute yourself, and if you could just kind of tell us how it is that you serve with us at Keller Williams, and then how you serve and in what capacity you serve with the Western Wisconsin Realtors Association.
Absolutely. Thank you, Caleb. So yes, I am the team leader for the Keller Williams Integrity, Wisconsin, Minnesota, here in beautiful Hudson, Wisconsin. And this is my official first year serving as the president-elect. So it's a 3-year term that you are voted by your peers to serve on. And so I was supposed to be the president of 2021. However, we just voted and we extended our term from a 3-year term to a 4-year term because of COVID. We weren't able to go to a lot of the national events and really partake and whatnot. So I will be the president-elect of 2021, and then I will be the president of our local board in 2022. So.
Super great, thank you. So give me just one of the biggest impacts you've had in that role. What is one of the key things that you feel has had the biggest impact on you or the agents you serve with?
It's a great question. For me, I was a realtor prior to being on the board, and you get these annual dues every year and you pay them and you're like, what is this money going towards? I don't understand why they want all this money from me. I don't know if I'm seeing value. But now that I'm actually on the board and I see what we do internally, we're an advocate for our agents. We're a connection between our local agent community and the WRA, which is part of, again, the National Association of Realtors. I had an opportunity to go to Madison last year for Realtor Government Day. We got to meet Tony Evers, and we stood before him and we talked about some of the issues that are going on in our industry that we'd like to see changed. And then we had a chance to meet with our local representatives. A big part too is we've raised a lot of money to help the organizations, some of the charities in our local neighborhoods, including homeless shelters. We raised money for RPAC, and that was a big eye opener for me too. Is everybody always wanted money for RPAC from me before, and I'm like, what's RPAC? And now I see the value that they bring, and I'm very passionate about continuing to move forward with supporting them and what they essentially do for our industry as a whole.
Awesome. All right. Thanks, Lisa. Next, I'd like to go to Amy. Amy, can you tell us, you serve on the WRA Forms Committee, the RANW Forms Committee, RANW Professional Standards Committee. Can you talk a little bit more about that and how you serve with us here at KW?
Sure. So I am the supervising broker for Keller Williams in Green Bay. So basically, I'm the go-to person when the agents need some help with their contracts, negotiations, and scripts. So I'm the helper for the agents. But the state of Wisconsin drafts real estate contracts. The WRA, or the Wisconsin Realtors Association, works with the state to come up with these forms. You know, what should they say? Where should the blank lines be? And members of the public can use these forms, and also realtors use these forms. So I work on that committee to help them develop those forms. And that really helps me in my role, because then I'm best suited to help our agents, like, what does this language mean? And, you know, what are these line numbers? To take that a step further, shrink it down to our local level instead of our state, I also serve on our local board, which is the Realtors Association of Northeast Wisconsin. And there's some things that are special to our area, just like every area. So we should have some special language in those forms based on our local customs. So we draft additional forms for our realtors to use in this local area. And I'm on that committee to help develop those. Professional standards is a little bit different. This is making sure that all realtors have high ethics, treat everyone like they want to be treated, and also make sure that our agents are getting paid. You know, they earn the commission that they are due. So serving on this board really helps me go to bat for our agents. Could you imagine if you went to a closing table, you worked hard for 60 days to get something to close, and all of a sudden you don't get paid? Yikes. So that's called procuring cause. And I serve on the Professional Standards Committee, so I know all the insides, outsides of mediation and the next step of arbitration. So I'm really well suited to represent our agents there. So we have a pretty stellar track record of making sure our agents are taken care of. So I'm really fortunate to be on that committee to be able to serve our agents on that level.
You feel that that's been the biggest impact that you've had, has been able to work alongside with the agents and basically protect them and help them?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, thanks for sharing that, Amy. Julie, I'd like to go to you next. Currently on the local board, you're on the board of directors, and now you're the treasurer-elect for the NAR. I'm sorry, now treasurer-elect for NAR. You are the C2EX Committee Member, if I'm saying these all right, all correct. And then prior to that, you've been on the PR Committee Chair, Christmas Party Committee Chair, served on the PR Committee and Nomination Committee. For the WRA, you are a Convention Committee Member, Winter Convention Committee Chair, and served on the committee for many years. NAR, you were PAG 2019. You're gonna have to help me understand a lot of this. But you basically served on the NAR committee since 2015, it looks like. So I guess, first of all, correct me I know I went over, there's about, you serve in a lot of capacities, Julie, but tell me a little bit more about what you serve on.
Thank you, and thank you again for doing this. I think this is a great idea. One of the greatest rewards of being involved is meeting people, and sometimes people are reluctant to get involved on any level, but once they do, they absolutely love it. So about me, the guy underneath Caleb is my husband, and we own Six Lakes Realty in Schaetz, and we joined the Keller Williams family June 1st, so we're very excited. And I primarily just work with buyers, and I just do residential real estate. So that's what I do on a day-to-day basis. I started in real estate, actually in mortgage, back in 2013. And right away, because my husband was very involved in the boards, I started getting on committees, and it was great because I got to learn more about the association. It was great networking. It really helped me actually get leads and work well with other realtors. So I was involved in different committees, committee chair. I was actually voted Affiliate of the Year for our local board, RANWW, and in 2009. And then when I became, but I could never run for a board position because I wasn't a realtor. So when I got my license in 2013 and started in 2014, I ran for the board of directors pretty much right away and got on it and have been serving in that capacity. And then I've also been the nomination committee person every year except for the years that I've ran. And I decided I was going to run for treasurer this year. Actually, my husband kind of pushed me and made me do it, but and I was fortunate enough to win. Statewide, yeah, I've been on some different committees. I ran the WRA Winter Convention, I think in 2000, and I don't even remember what year. And I've been fortunate enough to be on committees at the National Association of Realtor level, which is extremely exciting. And I absolutely love it. And I feel very fortunate.
What does a committee do at the NAR? Like, give me one example.
Yeah, great question. The committees meet twice a year face-to-face, in November at the annual convention, and then in May at the mid-year convention. And then there's either conference calls or Zoom meetings or things that you have to do throughout the year. And I have to tell you, it is, they try to balance out the states, so it's not all California and Florida that are on these committees. And there's not a lot of people from Wisconsin that actually put their name in. So if anyone wants to know how to get on a committee, let me know. I would love to help you with that. And they try to balance it out to get people from big states, small states, etc. And I've been on the resort and second home committee. I've been on the member communication committee, which is how members communicate with each other, and commitment to excellence, and RPAC, one of the RPAC committees as well.
Awesome. Great. Thanks so much, Julie. Let's go to John now. John, I'm not going to read off all the things you served on because that would take up this entire live stream, but can you back us up to what you're currently doing right now? You are the NAR Treasurer and Board of Directors for the WRA and the RANWW, plus several other committees, but can you introduce yourself and tell us a little bit more about what that means?
Yeah, I can. So thanks for having us, Caleb. And Julie already talked about how we fit into the KW scheme of things. So let me kind of start at the basics. So I've had the honor of serving in every level of the Realtor organization. For those of you that don't know, and you've heard the other panel members talk about this, the Realtor organization is broken into 3 levels. Your local board, and then there's a state association or state board, and then you have the National Association of Realtors that covers the entire United States, and they all do different functions and different things. And so I've had the honor of, I've served in many capacities at our local board as well as local board president. In 2010, I served as our state president, or what we are actually call the chair of the board, and in a bunch of things there. And now I'm serving as the National Association of Realtors Treasurer. So what does that mean? A lot of people go, yeah, whatever. So I'll put it into a little perspective, and I don't like talking about myself, honestly, but so yeah, Julie's going, yes, he does. So just to give you an idea, so we have 1.4 million realtors in the United States. The leadership team of the National Association of Realtors is made up of 5 elected leaders. That's the first vice president, president-elect, president, immediate past president, and the treasurer, me. And then there are 2 vice presidents that are actually brought on. They're nominated by the incoming president and serve with that president. So altogether, there are 7 realtors on the leadership team for the National Association of Realtors. And basically, the majority of decisions for NAR come through us. And and we can act actually on behalf of the board of directors. Let me put it into perspective. The National Association of Realtors board of directors is roughly 900 people. They are really interesting meetings to be at and to present at, trust me. And so we can act on behalf of the board of directors in between meetings and things like that. So we get to do a lot of very interesting, exciting stuff. The cool thing is you're on the inside of what's going on at the National Association of Realtors and within the industry all the time. So it's exciting and stressful and all that at the same time, but it is a complete honor.
What do you think has been the most impactful thing that you've done either on behalf of the agents as being the NAR Treasurer?
It'd be hard to nail down one thing, Caleb. I mean, I could go into some geeky stuff about, last year we changed the mandatory reserve level of the National Association of Realtors. Just to give you a couple of numbers, because I'm treasurer, I got to sound like a geek. So the National Association of Realtors has about a $250 million budget. And that's just NAR. We also own multiple different companies outside of the National Association of Realtors. And our balance sheet, essentially the balance of our checkbook, is about $650 million. And that's your money. And I'm the guy that gets to look after that. So, I mean, really being involved in and seeing the inner workings of what's going on has been really interesting. And especially with COVID, we were the ones that made the decisions about, cutting out travel. The May meetings going virtual, the November meetings are now going to be virtual. And dealing with all of that stuff. Right tools right now, I think, is probably one of the coolest things to put it into today's perspective of COVID. And hopefully some of you took advantage of that. Was, NAR was offering either free or discounted items to our members. We've provided, I can't remember how many millions of dollars worth of value to our members, and over 200,000 of our members have taken advantage of them. I know several people in our office got their ePro for free and things like that. So being involved in things like that has been great. But just one more thing, and yes, Julie said that I talk a lot, and I do. But I'm passionate about this. You can tell. I mean, obviously, I'm an association, rat. But the most important thing I think for folks to know out there is serving at whatever capacity you can, local, state, national, I don't care what it is, there is value there. The people you meet, the things you learned, I've learned more about the real estate industry, and I've been doing this since I started in 2001. I've learned more about it than I could have in 3 lifetimes of not being involved. So you will always get more than you give, because people go, how do you give the time? How do you do this? How do you do that? Oh, I'm too busy. You find the time. Trust me, you find the time, and it is well worth it. So I encourage you to do that if you've got the inclination to do so.
Awesome, great, thanks, John. Peter, the voice of God. You're currently on the board of directors for the WRA. You're on the Public Policy Committee for the WRA, Government Affairs Committee for the RANW, and the Board of Review for City of Appleton. And you're a joint review board member for Outagamie County. Thank you for your service in all of those. Tell us a little bit about who you are in our world, and then talk a little bit more about what you serve on, please.
Thanks, Caleb. I am the compliance broker here in KW Fox Cities. I also help carry out as a co-team leader. Been doing that since the Market Center started 5 years ago, and honestly, the best job I've ever had. So I'm a fortunate man to be able to be doing this. As far as the boards that I serve on, again, it's another opportunity that I have that I'm very, very thankful for. Serving on the board of directors is been a privilege for me. And what I appreciate the most about that is being able to come in and genuinely have an impact on what the lives are for our realtors, as to helping set policy. One of the committees that I was on for WRA was the Professionalism Committee, and just being part of that and being able to help make recommendations as to changes that we can make to help raise the bar for everyone has been a blessing that I've had, and that I've really appreciated to be able to do that. Over the next few years, you'll see things roll out, because some of the things that we want to do, we got to get John's permission to do from NAR, and which is fine. It's the way that works. But I'm really looking forward to that rolling out. But I think for me, the biggest privilege that I have is being able to have an impact on the lives of realtors, and when I was in city government, being able to have impact on the lives of the citizens that I live with. That I really appreciated. So that makes me feel very fortunate.
Peter, can I ask you a question? How does somebody get on the board of directors for WRA? How do you qualify?
There's a few ways of doing it. First of all, if your firm is one of the 3 largest firms in the state, you get an automatic seat. The next level is if you're one of the largest firms in a region, and which you are, Caleb, in this region, that's how I got my seat. And then each region has allocated, whether it be 1 or 2 additional seats. That would be an appointed seat by the executive committee of WRA. And that's usually one where you have to petition the board to be on it. And then they select who's going to fill that position. And we have 2 other representatives in Northeast Wisconsin that are on the board. So, and one of the other firms in Northeast Wisconsin is also on the board. So we actually have 4 people on the WRA board of directors that are from Northeast Wisconsin. That's a board out of 27.
Yeah, there's been a few times, I mean, at Keller Williams, we're unique in the way that we think in and around how we put our agents first and then our company comes second, and we have that focus around there, and we have a certain belief system here at Keller Williams. Have you, while you've been serving, have you been able to influence, you know, things happening at WRA based on that same philosophy and that same thinking?
Yes, actually, and this was one of the things that happened very early on. We were having discussions about advertising the brokerage and how that should be done. And one of the points that were being discussed was, and this actually came out of one of the committees that I was on, the Public Policy Committee, where they were looking to make changes and have more of an emphasis put on the brokerage and less on the agent. And it was one of those things where I knew where our philosophy was. I agreed with that philosophy. I think that's the most important thing, is that you have to believe in what you're advocating for. And when I saw that we were kind of going down the road of maybe putting more of a emphasis on the brokerage and less on the agent, I was able to work with this committee to actually get to the point where we are now. And it's actually state law, where it be, as long as the advertising of the brokerage is clear and conspicuous, that's all it needs to be. There were proposals that the brokerage should have to take up half of the advertising that you do. You know, your logo couldn't be bigger than the brokerage logo, and things like that. And we had a really good discussion on it, but fortunately, we were able to move into a direction where, as long as it's clear and conspicuous, you're good to go.
Yeah, I think that's one thing that a lot of associates might not get to see and understand, is that when you guys serve in this capacity, and we have a certain way that we think, and we have a certain DNA kind of to our organization, you get to insert that influence in these committees as well when you have to vote on things and things like that. So, all right, we got a couple questions coming in, you guys. There was the introductions. Please keep your questions coming. The first one is for Julie. Julie Barr had just finished her C2EX. What are your thoughts on the best way to put this education to work for her clients and have the most positive impact for her business?
So first of all, Julie, congratulations. For those of you who don't know what C2EX is, it's called Commitment to Excellence. And unlike designations like GRI or ABR, or a certification like ePro, it's an endorsement. And to get on it, I don't know if you guys can see, but you go to c2ex.realtor. Your username and password is the same as your NAR.realtor login. And it's a free thing to do. And it's really to try to help professionalism. And if you do get C2EX endorsed, it'll waive your code of ethics for the next 3 years. Now it's 3 years, you need to recertify for that instead of every 2. But I think it really is something that sets agents apart. You can have it, like we have it on our business cards, a little C2EX logo. I have it on my email signature. You can actually have your brokerage be C2EX endorsed. When you have X number of agents that are endorsed, it's actually 80%. And you can put a banner up. And, you know, I think the average client doesn't know what CRS, ABR, GRI is, but they know when you have that alphabet soup that you are a more professional agent. You've done certain things that other agents have not done that don't have any of those little letters. behind them. So that's one really good way to do it. And I would highly recommend promoting C2EX, especially to new people or to bad agents, because if you are doing things right, if you're an educated agent, it certainly helps you, and it certainly helps make you realize the things you're doing well and the things you could be doing better. But if you've got someone that you are working with that is not very professional, doesn't know a lot of stuff, it would be a great tool to help them. And the better each one of us is, the better our whole industry is.
Thank you. Actually, we had another question for you, Julie, from Sean. Julie, you said that there is a lot of value provided with the money that we all pay for our yearly dues. Can you list some of those things specifically getting accomplished with that money?
I'm going to let my treasurer husband take that one.
Awesome. John.
All right, throwing me under the bus, huh?
Yeah.
Well, there's a couple things I can think of, but you could answer that.
Gotcha. So again, your dues are broken up between local, state, and national. Okay, and each of those entities sets their own dues depending on what they provide. So your local board certainly provides, you know, all of your local services, typically MLS, you know, all of those types of things that go on locally. The state, especially in Wisconsin, we have some of the highest state dues in the country, but they also provide some of the most services. So like at our state level, you know, they provide, you know, forms and electronic signatures and education, you know, and then a huge thing that both at the state and national level is that, you know, people need to realize that we are a huge advocacy organization. Okay, we are the only organization in the country that advocates for private property rights. If it was not for Realtors, the homeowner, property owner would be on their own to try and take on government, you know, other industry entities, things like that. And so that's a huge part of what we do at the state and at the national level. And, you know, like at the national level, we just passed another 1-year extension of flood insurance. If that hadn't happened, what would happen if you were selling a house today that was in the floodplain and was closing and they couldn't get flood insurance? Guess what? They wouldn't be able to close. And it's so many of those things that we do behind the scenes. Just like on the state level, several years ago, we fought a proposal to double the transfer tax, you know, to keep, you know, the state from charging sales tax on commissions. You know, what would that do? At the national level, you know, we're fighting things like the independent contractor status. What if we all of a sudden all had to be employees? Boy, you know, Caleb would have a nightmare going on if all of a sudden all of these agents, you know, working in all of these different market centers had to be employees of Keller Williams. Right. So there's tons of things. Julie's got her hand up, so I'm going to call on her. Yes, right here.
So besides some of the things that John mentioned, if you look on WRA.org, our Wisconsin thing, there's a ton of different benefits, like between that and NAR.Realtor. If you're going to buy a computer, you can get a discount from Dell. There's some cell phone providers you can get discounts for. Wisconsin Realtors Association has like a Land's End discount. So if you want to like buy company golf shirts or something like that. 2 huge things that we have in Wisconsin that are so valuable. Number one is legal hotline. How many times have you guys needed to use legal hotline? The other one, which is relatively new, is the tech line. So if you have a problem with your cell phone, your tablet, your whatever, and don't have a tech guy around, they are absolutely awesome. And those are all things that are provided with our dues.
So honey, I hate to rain on your parade. And Peter's smiling because he knows what I'm going to say. We voted at our last WRA meeting to get rid of the tech helpline because it wasn't getting used enough. Sorry. But it was a great resource for a while. And it is those types of things that we provide.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
And I'm sure these guys, you guys, I'm sure all have examples of things, that the Realtor organization does for you for those dues, values that you could never get for $700 a year. We're so much stronger and better when we're together. And that's where this advocacy side of the house really makes a big impact on the state and national level, and even locally. Because
let's talk about that really quick. Given that we're going through COVID and a pandemic, a lot of states, some states didn't allow their agents to work. Do you guys believe that the WRA had an impact on that? And do you believe that they, like, what are your guys' thoughts on in terms of just advocacy for keeping us open, that we could actually keep working?
One of the things that I'm very proud of WRA is that they truly are apolitical. They do not push Republican, Democrat, Independent. They truly look at what is best for the agent and advocating for what is best for the agent, regardless of what administration is currently in power. And I believe that a lot of the advocacy from WRA was able to allow us to remain essential when just the state to the north and east, Michigan, they were shut down and they had no business for months. With us, we had, when the pandemic hit, and I'm just working off of KW Fox Cities, our first month was down 30%. The next month we were down 3%, and every month since then we've been above what we were last year. So it was, that's a tribute to our agents who were able to continue working during a pandemic, which is pretty amazing to begin with. But just the fact that our organization was able to position us in such a way where we were able to continue working, where we still had that opportunity to continue working, that I think was terribly important. And I was very thankful WRA was able to help contribute to that.
And I'll throw this open to anybody, just grab, what was the most impactful thing that you guys think that you learned, or what did you learn as soon as you started to serve on a committee or a board or something like that, that you didn't know, that you think, kind of like, take me for someone who's never served, and then what you learned as soon as you started serving in some capacity, one of your base takeaways that you think that a lot of people don't know about.
All right, I'll give you a quick story. So I was kind of thrust into being involved when I joined the firm back in 2001. My father looked at me and said, well, we're going to a meeting. Okay, what meeting are we going to? Oh, the Realtors, Association meeting. And this is when we had smaller boards than we have today. And then several months later, he said, oh, by the way, I signed you up to run for the board of directors. I was like, what? And he said, yeah, don't worry, you probably won't win. And even if you do, you say yes to a couple of reports and look at the financials, and you're the first one at the bar for the meeting. And I'm like, okay. And then I won. And then I went to my very first meeting. And at that point, the Northern Waters board, which was from Schaetz, basically north. And then there was the Eau Claire board. And the Northern Waters board was actually contracting services from the Eau Claire board for our executive officer, Joan Englert at the time. So I go to my very first board of directors meeting, and I'm all excited, and I'm, like 6 months in the business, and Joan comes in and she says, I'm giving you 1 year's notice that I can no longer provide services to the Northern Waters board as your executive officer. So you have a year to figure out what you're going to do. And all of a sudden I was like, this is not what I signed up for. This was, supposed to be easy, right? The thing is that experience hooked me. So I went through a year of being involved with trying to decide for our board if we were going to hire our own executive officer, if we were going to merge with another board, what we were going to do. I helped with the merger negotiations with the Eau Claire board, and we merged into what you now know as the Realtors Association of Northwestern Wisconsin. And over that year, and to me, the takeaway was, wow, I'm brand new, and I was still having an effect on our industry and on our board, and I was making a difference for other realtors. Even though they had no idea I was involved, it didn't matter to me. It was the fact that I was giving back to my industry, giving back to my board and the other people in the realtor family, and getting to make a difference, actually making a sizable difference as even a brand new person. And every single one of you can do that too.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's great, John. Thanks for sharing that. Our next question is, Amy, who is right for the role? Like, who's right to serve on some of these committees?
I think a brand new agent is right and an experienced agent is right. When I first started in my career, the thing that I learned by beginning to serve is we are not all competitors. We are all in this together. And it's more important who you know rather than what you know. So when you're a brand new agent and you get to know agents from other firms by serving on a committee, that's going to help your sales stats, because they're going to say, oh, I know you. I like working with you. Let's work on this deal together. And then you have great communication, and it's just a blast to work together. So you will get more sales by building relationships with agents from other firms. And then as you're experienced, for me in the broker role, I've been able to get personal relationships with other brokers. So when our companies have disputes, it's super easy because these people are my friends. I serve on boards with them. You know, we just want a win-win. So I think anyone is well suited to serve, whether you're brand new or experienced. You got to get out there and get to know the people.
Awesome. How about getting started? Where do people go to get started if they want to serve or to learn more?
For my local board, we have a committee sign up. I can put it in the chat. And then I think John had mentioned you can go to the WRA and there's a list of committees, and the NRA and there's a list of committees.
All right, we'll give a few more minutes for anybody else that has any more questions in the live chat. Anything that we are missing that you guys feel like we should have touched on, that we should have talked about, that doesn't get enough time in the spotlight, so to speak?
So Caleb, I would like to bring up another benefit of serving on committees. When John and I first got involved, obviously it was just at the local level, and I loved meeting people. I loved the character of people. And, you know, it seems like it's just like sales. 80% of the people, or excuse me, 20% of the people are doing 80% of the sales. Well, in volunteering, it's like 10% of the people are doing 90% of the work. So I do want to encourage you, give back. It's awesome. So I loved working with people. And as Amy said, I got a ton of business. And when people would see my name on a contract, or at the time when I was in mortgage and I started to meet people, they took me a lot more seriously because they knew me and they respected me. Then we got involved on the state level, and I was even more impressed with the character of people. And when we got involved at the national level, same thing. I mean, we have made some fabulous friendships that will be friends forever, that would give us a kidney if we needed one. And from the financial aspect of it, right after I became an agent, one of my friends said, oh, my son is moving to Colorado. Do you know anybody? And I said, yes, I do, Michael Labout. So it took me 5 minutes to introduce them. 3 months later, I got an $800 check. So I made my first dollar in real estate from a referral. And I love helping people network. So I have people all the time that'll say, who do you know in Milwaukee? And I'll say, well, I know like 30 people. What are you looking for specifically? Or who do you know in Wyoming? Or who do you know here? And I love helping people. It's helped me a lot, get a lot of referrals, and give a lot of referrals. But I like helping people. So it is just extremely, extremely rewarding.
Okay, and because we're a company of transparency, give me a downside of serving. Like, give me something that that maybe is hard, or that you didn't really think of what would be hard, so people really know truly what they're dealing with. Give me something that like that.
It takes a lot of time. I could be like yesterday, I was on a C2EX for the National Association of Realtors, a Zoom meeting for an hour and a half. That's an hour and a half I could have spent on lead generation. So the people out there that are, and you all have them in your markets, those people that never give back, they don't do anything, they make, you know, they do a ton of business. We could be doing more business if we didn't give back. But the thanks that we get, and I do have to say, people just will randomly say, thank you so much for everything that you and John do. People genuinely seem to appreciate when you give of your time and your talent. So I would say the fact that you could be spending more time on your business instead of doing a volunteer position.
Yeah, if I can expand on that, I mean, when you get to the level that Julie and I have been at for the last 2 years, and my stint as treasurer is done here in a month. So, but before COVID, we were traveling 2 weeks out of every month, just about. So, I mean, that does impact your business, but thank God with a great team and with technology, we kept up with a lot of things, but you're still gonna, lose some things. I will tell you that it was tolling on us physically. We were kind of fighting colds all the time because we were on and off airplanes and all of this, kind of crazy stuff. But folks, we're not talking about that. Serving on a committee at your local level, which I think, and that's where the rubber hits the road. And that's one of the most rewarding areas to do this in. Find a passion that you have, whether it's party planning or MLS or education or whatever it is, and look into that at your local level. That is not going to hurt your business. It is going to help your business, because exactly what Amy was saying, you get to know more people and it's easier to work with them. It's easier to work through a harder deal and all that kind of stuff. And really is an hour every couple of months of being on a committee gonna, really take away from your business? I don't think so. So, start there, but give back something, because, the industry gives a lot to us. And I think giving something back is really, really rewarding.
Yeah, thank you, John. Is there, that's actually part of the reason we wanted to do this live stream, is just actually to say thank you to you guys. Just like to Julie and John's point that, you get that thanks, and just want to bring awareness to what you guys do and say thank you. So within closing, you guys, drop them some comments, drop them some likes to the video, thank them for them serving, please. I know I'm grateful. I know a lot of our associates are grateful. But just in closing, thank you guys, and we'll try to do another live stream like this soon.
Thank you, Caleb.
Thanks.
Thank you. Bye, guys.